You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again, and today we have another show lined up for y'all. Today, we're going to be talking to a singer and songwriter based in New York City. We're going to be talking to Liv Byrne, and we're going to also just learn about her music career, her recent projects, and just all about her, man. So welcome, Liv, to the show. How you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, man, you are originally from Florida, but you're based in New York, and you're doing this music thing. So first and foremost, tell the audience a little bit about you.
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Toronto, Canada, and then I grew up in South Florida, and I moved to New York City for college. I'm 20 years old. I'm in college, but doing music at the same time. I've been writing music since I was 11 years old, and a little bit when I was in high school. I was like, yeah, I'll release my music, this or that. But I was never really big on that because I've always used music as a sort of diary in a sense. But now I feel like I'm a little more detached from the songs. I've outgrown the person I was when I was writing them, and I've definitely become a lot more comfortable with sharing my art with the world and letting others hear my music. And so now I will be releasing a lot of it. Now,
New York, was that the actual place when you started to make music, or when did you actually start the process of getting to your music career?
So I've been performing since I was 8 years old and writing music since I was 11. And I grew up in South Florida, so pretty much all started in South Florida. Growing up, my parents threw me into every extracurricular you could think of, and then was sort of like, whichever one sticks is the one that she likes. And I kept coming back to performing, singing, and dancing. And so I've been part of this performance training group since I was a kid. So that's where a lot of my training and comfortability of making music came from, is because every weekend I would go to classes and I would hang out with everyone from those groups and stuff like that. And that definitely nurtured my passion for music.
And when it came to your first project, what was your first official release? And tell us how that came about.
Sorry. It's a little complicated. I guess my first official release on all platforms was my song Company, which I think I released my junior year of high school, I want to say. Junior or senior year of high school, I released it. And yeah.
What was that project all about?
So that song is about the cycle of you meet someone, you guys start talking, flirting, and you get to know each other, and then you decide, we don't really vibe that much. I can't really see a future with you. And then we move on. And then we meet someone else. And we just keep, so it's like a failed talking stage after failed talking stage. And the song talks about how maybe it's, I don't want a relationship. Maybe it's just, I want company. I just want someone to be around me. And that's why all of these talking stages fail.
And with you being in the industry, did you have any people near you that were helping you produce, write, record, or were you kind of doing this all by yourself?
So when it came to writing music, I was growing up at the same time when Taylor Swift was really hitting it big for being both a singer-songwriter. So the whole idea of writing your own music was never like a faux pas to me or something. It was always like something everyone could do. So I've always written my own music, but when it came to producing it, that was something that I was told I had to reach out to other people about. Like I said, I grew up in South Florida, so there's a plethora of incredible musicians in that area. And I grew up in Broward County specifically, so You got all the SoundCloud rappers, you got producers who know what they're doing with their beats and stuff like that. So I definitely had a lot of options within that. But then as I was working with this producer, that producer, I started to realize I could just do it myself. And so then I started doing that, and I worked with the studio called Vanquish Studios. I worked with some producers from there that helped train me within that. And then that led me to a producer up here in New York. His name's Eric Bry. I worked with him, and that was really just, it was more of like a training situation where I was just learning more about production, how to do it and do it well. And now I pretty much produce everything on my own.
Now, when it comes to what you're doing today, you have something cooking up, and it's going to be later this month in October. But what can you tease with the audience? Something that you're working on to release pretty soon in the future.
Yeah, I'll announce it. I have a single coming out October 22nd called Mad at You, which I'm really excited to release. And it'll be the first of many releases.
So who are you mad at?
The song actually discusses one of the first stages of getting out of a toxic relationship, which is just admitting to yourself that you're upset with the way that you're being treated and that it's not right and you deserve better. So that's why it's called Mad at You. But I think I try to write the song in a way that, it's authentic to myself, but also broad enough where I think other people can put their own relationships into it. That was something I really tried to work on with my projects that'll be releasing in the future, is that it's phrased about relationships, and that can mean familial, friendship-wise, or romantic. And so I feel like you can apply that to any of those situations, because it wasn't exclusively romantic relationships that made me write the things that I wrote.
And you as an artist, you mentioned that you started producing for yourself. Talk to us a little bit about that process. Were you one of those persons that went to YouTube and how you make a beat? What was that process like when you started to produce for your own self?
So when I write a song, I already have the whole song in my head. So it's very easy to write a song and to vocally produce a song, because I can just get that out of my head, or I can just record that or write that down with a snap of a finger. But when it comes to producing, I have to spend like hours at times just trying to find a bass sound that sounds like the bass that's in my head. And so navigating that has always been difficult because it's time consuming. And working with other producers have just simply helped me out on finding specific plugins that are more my genre type, or different ways I could edit a sound to make it more like what's going on in my head. And yeah, I'm still learning every day in production. And I like to think that I get better with every song I do.
And once again, we are right here on I Am Refocused Radio, talking to Liv Byrne. Go to her website, iamlivbyrne.com. And that's spelled a little different. It's just in case you don't know. It's IAMLIVBYRNE.com. Now, you are a creative mind. As an artist, you have the ability to create something from nothing and present it to the world. What is the most important thing to you as an artist when you're trying to share your art with everyone?
The way I like to look at things is I write a song, and normally it's just lyrics, melody, and probably like a piano bass line type beat. And then within the production, I try to produce it so that it gives the lyrics and the meaning behind the song justice. And then when it comes to the visuals, I try to create them in a way that gives the song as a whole justice. And then I like to release that into the world, and then everyone could do with that what they want to do. So it's more of just trying to capture that authentic moment that made me write the song in the first place. Because the way that I write, I'm an overthinker. So I write when I just need to get it out. Like it's just so overwhelming, or it's such an emotional situation. It's like, I just need to get it out of my brain and get it onto the page. And so with every other step of the process afterwards, I just try to really sort of recreate that moment in a sense, or give that moment justice.
And I love how the way you answered that was perfect, because you basically is like unpacking like a grocery bag, and it's like just no fluff, just straight to the point. I love that. When you are making music, do you ever find times where you have to, I mean, I'm sure we all have to take breaks if you're in that creative space, but do you find that you have to take a lot of breaks just to kind of distance yourself from being overwhelmed?
In the terms of when I sit down to write a song, I write the whole song right then and there. I normally leave the second verse for more of a hindsight perspective, because that's how I think as a person. So that's how I like to phrase my songs, where it's like the second verse is just, okay, I've taken a few days to step back from the song. This is something I want to say. And it's more of a mature perspective on the situation that's being discussed in the song.
Now you mentioned, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, like, as far as writer's block goes, I write music when I feel very emotional. So when life is good, I don't have anything to complain about. So I guess that's where my writer's block sets in. Like, I haven't really been writing any new songs recently because, I mean, I love the people I'm surrounded by. I have a lot of positive things going on in my life right now. And it's definitely very enjoyable. Although I'm stressed out, as always, it's still very enjoyable. So I don't really have anything to write about currently.
Now, you did mention Canada earlier in the show. Mm-hmm. I think that's a very interesting thing I need to unpack. So what do you remember about Canada? And is there anything that sticks out in your memory that is important to you?
So my relationship with Canada, it's definitely, I guess, weird when I try to explain it to other people. I lived there I was born, and then 9 months later I moved out, and then I never truly lived in Canada since. But all of my family is either there or Ireland, but most of the family that I talk to on a daily basis lives in Canada. So Canada has always been, quote unquote, home to me. Although I grew up in South Florida, I don't really connect to that environment the same way I do when I go to see my family in Canada, or when I drive around that area, or when I do activities in those neighborhoods. That always feels more like home to me.
So you do go visit, because I was like, wait, you have a memory from 9 months?
No, yeah. I go visit all the time. Obviously, I haven't been able to because of COVID, but we're in the home stretch, because I know in December I'm going to go and I'm going to be able to see everyone. And we're all so excited. We'll email or text about it. We're like, can't wait for December. And we'll make jokes about it. We're all very excited to finally see each other, because it's been over a year now since we've all seen each other. Because, well, I mean, obviously everyone who's in Canada has seen each other, but my parents, my brother and I, at least, we haven't really seen anyone.
And your family that's there, how have they reacted to your music? Have you shared your songs with them, or at least say, hey, my songs are out, check them out?
Oh, my family is so supportive. It's actually surprising. I mean, you would think, yeah, my family support me, obviously, but they're just more supportive than I could ever think of. And it's wild. Like, my cousin helped me create my website. Like, it's crazy how supportive everyone is, and just ways that you wouldn't even think of. Like, my little cousins would sing my song to me, or they would ask me to dance with them or sing with them, or sometimes people ask me to to sing. We're Irish, so we hang out at like Irish pubs when we're up there. And so sometimes when people ask me to sing at those Irish pubs and stuff like that, and it's immensely supportive for sure.
Once again, we're talking to Liv Byrne here on I Am Refocused Radio. And before we let you go, a couple more questions. When you see the industry, I never asked this in this way. What, if anything, surprised you the most when you got into the music industry, and why?
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm fully in right now, so I can't speak confidently on it. You know, I'm still trying to dip my toes into it. But I mean, it's a shocker, but at the same time, it's not that surprising. The lack of representation of women producers in the industry was really crazy to me. I think what was craziest was growing up, learning how to produce this or that. It was always engraved in my mind for some reason that a producer was a man and that I had to find a male producer to help me out. And I never for a second thought about a woman producer, which is why I think it took me so long to start producing myself. And even when I started producing myself, I was the only female producer that I knew. Thanks to TikTok, I've become a lot more aware of all these incredibly brilliant women producers. And now I know more as I get deeper within the music industry and they connect more. And I definitely think they're being more brought to light now. And people are definitely taking advantage of their skills a lot more now. But it was wild to me when I first figured that out, because honestly, they kind of slap. So I don't know why people aren't utilizing them more, but that's just me.
And you as an artist, what would you say is the most fulfilling part of just being an artist, being able to create your own, masterpiece to share with everybody?
I think it's two parts. One of them is seeing everything that happens in my head come into reality. So seeing a song that I've only heard in my head come in, like I could pull it up on my computer and I can listen to it and it sounds like how I was hearing it in my head before I wrote it. That's wild to me. Or when the visuals come out exactly how I had them in my head, that's wild to me. But also just seeing other people react to my music and connect to it, that's the most insane thing to me. Because I'm like, oh my God, like you think the same thing that I think? That's crazy. I can't believe you think those thoughts too. So yeah, that's definitely wild to me.
And you've been in the media, you've been getting blog placements and all that. For someone who's an artist, I mean, it's always the $1 million question. How do I get placements? How do I get exposure? With your experience that you have, what would you say words of wisdom for those who are trying to get their exposure up as far as getting their stuff heard? What would you say to them, genuinely speaking? Honestly,
I would say just do you and do you well. Just do what you love and keep posting in a way that's genuine and authentic to you, and those opportunities will come. Because that's what happened with me. I had a management team reach out to me and things worked out. And now I'm getting publicity because of them. But I didn't go out of my way for anything. It came to me because they saw me posting all the time and doing IGTVs and trying to put myself out there. So, because you got to think about it from a business perspective. People are looking for new artists all the time. That's what an A&R's job is to look for artists. So as long as you're just out there doing what's authentic to yourself, people are going to connect to truth and it'll just happen. But it definitely takes a lot of patience. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So definitely be patient with yourself.
Well, there you have it, man. That was well said. I want to say Once again, you're listening to I Am Refocused Radio, and we're talking to Liv Byrne. And that's a dope name, by the way. When you are living your purpose and you're pushing yourself, you touched on that a little bit, but when you are zoned, you're locked in, you're in your zone. How do you keep yourself focused on your goals so that way you're not allowing yourself to overthink anything?
When it comes to a creative space, I don't overthink. Or if I do, I go back to, I don't know, I work creatively off of feeling. So whenever I think I'm starting to overthink something, I just take a break and I'm like, okay, what am I feeling? Does this feel right? Does it feel like it's that deep? Is it not that deep? Let it go. And then that's just how I operate. Especially like when it comes to producing like a specific sound. I'm like, do I like this? Do I not? Does it feel right? If it doesn't feel right, then get it out, you know? And so that's how I work. And that's how I stay on top of my goals and stuff like that when it comes to a creative space.
Well, how can people keep in contact with you and just support you with your music?
Oh, well, I am Liv Byrne on all streaming platforms, and I am Liv Byrne on all social media platforms. Feel free to DM me whenever. I try to respond to all of my DMs. But if you want to say hi, want to say what's up, I will be there, and I will say what's up to you as well.
Well, once again, thank you so much talking to us, Liv Byrne, right here on I Am Refocused Radio. True pleasure having you talking about not just your career, but your path, your life story. Thank you so much taking time out of your schedule to talk to us today.
Oh my God, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk to me.
I appreciate that, man. But once again, y'all can check it out. Her website is iamlivbyrne.com. Once again, that's iamlivbyrne.com. And just in case you spell it wrong, I'm going to have it in the description. But once again, thank you for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.